Good morning, guys. Happy New Year. Boy, these holidays are getting rough. Let's get to it. So, guys, Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me today. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make a lot of the treats that we were going to do originally. Jessica woke up this morning and she's got a bad stomach bug. It seems like these holidays are just, I don't know, it's been a bad year for holidays for us. Thank goodness it is the end of 2022. Hopefully 2023 will be better and better for you guys. So I'm pretty much at it by myself tonight. Jessica's really not feeling well. She's had a bad stomach bug. There was a lot of treats and stuff going around last night when we had the game night. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but she's not feeling too good. So yeah, it's going to be Happy New Year's Eve with you and me. Today I'm going to make a crab legs. We had a couple comments when I was pointing out crab legs at the store the other day. A lot of people don't know how to make them. It is really easy. Crab legs is one of the easiest things to make. I'm also going to make a Parmesan crusted asparagus, which is absolutely delicious. Another thing that is very easy to make. I went to the store and just kind of picked up a couple things today. Yeah, I didn't really know what to do. I feel so bad that Jessica doesn't feel well. She's laying down right now. I didn't really, we were going to do the skyline dip and all that stuff today. I'm not going to make that without her. That might be something that upsets her stomach. I did get a few little treats like pretzels and stuff like that in case she starts feeling better. It's about, I don't know, it's about 5:30 New Year's Eve, 5:30 p.m. So maybe here in a couple hours she'll start feeling better, but I wanted to put this out here for you guys. I started thinking, what's a good meal? What's an awesome meal? Something that I love that I can make to show you guys that's really easy. We had got a few comments on that. It's really easy. I'm going to show you how to do it. This is how you boil them. I know some people say, it's better to steam them. I don't think so. I think it's better to boil them. For one, when you boil them, it kind of opens up the meat a little bit and gets the flavor out. But I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Let's get to it. Okay, so we have our crab legs here. We've got our asparagus. This is right about a pound of asparagus, and this is 1.3 pounds of crab legs. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is fill the pot about 2/3. This is a big stock pot, so I'm going to fill it up about 2/3 of the way, because you want to make sure once you bring it to a boil, you want to make sure that all the crab legs are completely submerged in the water. Okay, so we have the water. Like I said, it's about 2/3 the way up. This is going to take a while to come to a boil, but that's okay, because we're going to prepare the asparagus while we're doing that. Okay, so we're going to set the crab legs to the side. Now, you want to make sure you keep these frozen before you throw them in the pot. Just wanted to mention that here. Now we're going to take the asparagus and we're going to cut off, because these stalks, they get real hard. You got to cut off about 1.5 inches. So you want to make sure whenever you buy asparagus, at least this is what I do, I cut off a little more than 1 inch so that you don't get that real hard woody piece. You could cook it like that, but another reason why you want to do this too is so that it fits evenly in the pan, because we're going to have them lined up, which I'll show you here in a second. Okay, so we cut off about 1.5 inches of each one of these asparagus here. Now we're going to wash them, because you definitely want to wash them. Okay, so after you wash the asparagus, you want to make sure you go ahead and turn your oven to 425 degrees. Okay, so the next step is you want about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you can use I would use a little bit less vegetable oil if that's what you're using. And just kind of go up and down. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to make sure and use a little bit of olive oil. You can actually use butter too. I've done that before. You just want to kind of mix them around here. Make sure you get, try and coat them the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. But I try to, if you get a little bit on the tips here, that's okay. I try to keep it like, a little off of those, because that's where we're going to be putting the cheese. And really, that's the best part of the asparagus. So it's going to take some tongs, or you can use your hands if you don't mind getting messy. Normally, I would use my hands, but I'm holding the camera in one hand, so I'm trying to make this as easy as possible here. Oh yeah, good and coated. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add some sea salt and black pepper. Okay, so I couldn't really hold this and do it at the same time. Looks like we need to get some more sea salt here, but we used the McCormick, and I just grinded it out here in the middle. Just did like a middle grind here, and then I took the black peppercorn. I did the same thing, and just went down the middle. And then we're gonna take our tongs again and do the same thing. Kind of just mix it around. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just like to kind of, if there's any. Yeah, you can see the pepper here. Just kind of roll them around in a little bit, right? You know how they said don't play with your food growing up? I disagree. Play with your food as much as you like. That's what makes it fun. There we go. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of mix it around in there. You can flip them around if you want. Like I said, if I was doing this, I would be using my hands. If I wasn't trying to hold the camera here. But also, this is a non-stick pan right here. If you don't have one, you can use like a glass oven pan or like a casserole kind of dish thing and use it like that. Sorry, I'm not the best cook, but working with what I got today. The thing is, I've used aluminum foil before, and the problem with that is that when you put the cheese on, it'll stick. So, I mean, you could probably use parchment paper, but I usually just do it like this, and it comes out fine. Okay, so now on to the best part. What I use, now you can use, I wouldn't use grated, you could use shredded or shaved. I like to use the shaved Parmesan. This is the Sartori brand here. And this is really good. It's usually expensive, but I got it for $3.99 at Kroger. Usually it's $5.99. The private selection, which normally we use because it's the cheapest and arguably just as good, that was $4.99. So I actually got this one cheaper. I like this brand better, but private selection is just fine. Now it is New Year's Eve, so I'm going to do a little more than I normally would. Another thing too, and this is kind of important, you want to make sure that the asparagus is just a little bit off of each other. It doesn't have to be, if you have a lot more than this, you can keep them together, but you want to make sure that they're not overlapping each other, like not on top of each other, because that'll cause the one on top to undercook a little, which really isn't, too bad, I guess. But I just kind of layer this on. I try to get right up to the tips of the asparagus because that's where the most flavor is. But I don't like to put it right on the tips because sometimes they'll stick to the pan. Even with the olive oil, sometimes they will. And I'm layering this up today because it's New Year's Eve and I'm going to enjoy myself. Now, the further you go down here, you don't want to go all the way down because a lot of it's going to kind of melt off. But if you don't mind having all that extra cheese, that's okay too. This is probably overkill today, but the reason why I like the shaved is because it kind of melts around and it kind of gets like that crusty flavor that you like. If you use shredded, that's fine, but it just doesn't seem to like kind of even out the way this does. So this is about what I do right here, and little more than halfway, because this is the best part of it. And this takes a healthy meal and makes it not so healthy, but hey, it's New Year's Eve, and we're enjoying ourselves. Yeah, so that's good. So I have plenty left over here. So what I'm going to do is you want to save some of it, because when this is done, we're going to put a little more cheese here, like in the middle, because this is going to kind of melt and spread a little bit, and then we'll just put like a little tiny bit more after it's done. So I didn't really time this out perfectly. This water is going to take a little while to boil, but I still went ahead and turned the oven on so that it's ready. So the timing on this, now they say, now I cook it a little longer, okay? But when this comes to a boil, and you want it to like a light boil, you don't need a hard boil. But when you put the crab legs in, if you look online, they'll tell you 5 minutes, but I like to cook it from 7 to 10 minutes, just to make sure that it's good and warm. Plus, it calls for a pound online, because I looked online just to double check to make sure that, I always do just to double check myself. But 5 minutes feels a little low for me, 7 to 10 minutes, because you are basically just heating it up. But once it comes to a boil, it will be done in 5 minutes, but we'll let it go for like 7 or 10. And it's going to take 15 minutes for the asparagus at 425 once we put it in there. So one thing I wanted to mention, once you have this to a boil, you want to make sure, at least the way I do it is, once I have the crab legs in there after it starts boiling, I'll add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, which helps open up the shells a little more and adds a little bit more flavor. It also helps a little bit to unstick the meat from inside the shell of the crab, which really helps when you really try to work at it. Now that our water is starting to boil, I'm going to go ahead and put the asparagus in the oven because I'm going to let this cook for a whole 15 minutes. And again, the crab legs only take like, probably cooking for like 7 to 8 minutes. I'm going to wait till we're about 7 to 8 minutes taking this out, and then I'll put the crab in. Okay, so the water is boiling. Now, when I put these in, I make sure to use the tongs because you want to make sure that they're as fully immersed as possible. If you got to bend them a little bit, get in there. There we go. You definitely want to try and get them all the way in the water if you can. You know, if you can't, you can't. They'll still be cooked. Which, again, they are already cooked. Just, you want to kind of use the tongs to bend them down in there. Try and get them as fully immersed as you can. Wow, that's a lot of crab. I asked for about 1 pound, and they gave me 1.33 pounds, which is fine. I'll eat it. There we go. All right, fully immersed. Yeah, so the asparagus has about 9 minutes, and I'm going to wait till I take the asparagus out till we take the crab out, so should be good. I did want to quickly mention that I added about 1 tablespoon of salt, and I kind of mixed it around in there. The salt really helps open it up a little bit, make it easier to get the meat out of the shell. Okay, so the crab legs are done. We're going to transfer them over to this plate. You might want to have like a couple paper towels set on top of it because even if you wring out the water, there's going to be a lot of water coming out of them afterwards, so I would recommend doing that. All right, here's our crab legs, still steaming. You can see where the water's coming off a little bit here. Whoa. I'll tell you what, and when you make these, your entire place will smell like the ocean. Okay, so I've turned the pot off. Now we're going to take the asparagus out. It is done. Okay, so we've taken the asparagus out. Look at all that cheese. So I'm not even going to add cheese to this. Usually I don't add as much at the beginning. You can add as much cheese as you want. But you can see why I didn't put cheese on the tips of these now, because they may stick to the pan. You don't want to rip the tips off. That's the best part. But I'll tell you what, it looks pretty good. One thing I want to mention too, this will continue to cook after you take it out of the oven. So you want to make sure, if you're not going to take them off the pan, you at least want to kind of scoop them. Actually, we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so yeah, the best idea is to just transfer them over to a plate, because I forgot, it makes it easier to get the cheese off while the pan is still hot. Some of it crusted here, got some big chunks there. Got the crab legs. Time for dinner. Tell you what, guys, this is a meal, and very easy to make, really easy. Well, guys, dinner is ready. I am back in the war room here. Jessica is still asleep. I hope she feels better here soon. We'll just have to see. You know, I like I said, I got a couple little comfort foods, some pretzels, cheese, just easy things to eat. Yeah, I don't, you know, we've had bad luck with the holidays so far this year. But let me run down what we just did here. We did the crab legs. Takes about, some people will say 5 minutes. I do 7 to 10. I like to make sure that they're, you know, fully warm, because really all you're doing is heating them up. They're already cooked. Whenever they're orange, they're already cooked. They're flash frozen after they are when they package them frozen to the store. So basically you're just heating them up, but I do like to boil them, kind of open up the flavor a little bit. Again, add about a little more than 1 teaspoon of salt into the boiling water just to kind of open it up a little bit. And with the asparagus, it's absolutely delicious. That is the best way to do asparagus. Again, at 425 for about 12 to 15 minutes. I know we did mine at 15 minutes because the stalks are a little thicker than, you know, the bigger asparagus pieces that you have. you want to give it a couple more minutes. But if you have the thin ones and you have it lined out in a row, yeah, about 12 minutes. Because you don't want to overcook them, but you don't want to undercook them either. So with ours, we did about 15 minutes. And you don't have to use olive oil. You can use butter if you don't have olive oil. I've even used vegetable oil before. But if you're going to use vegetable oil, I would almost just say use butter. And just kind of use your hands and kind of rub them, you know, kind of roll them around. Make sure you coat all of the asparagus. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video today. Sorry it wasn't what it was going to be. But yeah, you know, I just hope Jessica feels better here in the next couple hours so that we can celebrate the new year together. But if not, I just want her to feel better, and I'll have some little treats for her when she gets up. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video today. Happy New Year. With all that being said, I am out, and always remember the adventure is out there.